Hey everyone, it's Pat Monahan, your host here on the Patcast. I just want to say thank you to everyone who came on the Sail Across the Sun cruise on Valentine's Day. For those of you who may not know, thousands of train fans got on a cruise ship along with me and the rest of the train gang. Brett Denon, Michael Fronte and friends, Matt Nathanson, Charlie Hunter, Chef Ryan Scott, Jim Brewer, and many more of our friends. We went to Grand Cayman and had a 4-day party, basically. It was phenomenal. I'm not just saying that. It was one of the greatest times that I've ever had. It was so great, in fact, that we announced on the boat that we will be doing the same thing next year, except even better and bigger and cooler. Cruise stories, man, there are so many of them. I think I ran into, there might have been 3,000 people on the boat. I think I took a picture with 3,000 people. And but happily, like at karaoke, we had karaoke every night. They were supposed to do it one night, but I was under the impression that it was every night, so I went there and just waited for them to start the machine, and they finally did. And man, it was just one of many things. Every day was filled with awesome people and really cool events. The comedy was great. The food was incredible. Nobody jumped overboard, which is even better than I expected. So please come to the next one. If you didn't make this one, you have to come. I'm making my family come out because I didn't know what it was going to be like, and they have to come. So we're all very excited. So I'm excited to tell you that we'll put the date up soon, as soon as we get it. We played a bunch of songs that we have not played in years and years and years from all albums, the live album, the first album, everything. John Oates made a special appearance with us. We played a brand new song called Underneath the Dogwood Tree. Lots of collaborations between artists. I went up on stage with Brett Denon and the Yacht Rock Review. They're like the coolest band of all time. We did lots of karaoke, lots of wine, lots of partying. Stay tuned to sailacrossthesun.com for details. The site will get updated as soon as we know more. Now it's back to work as Train heads into the studio. We have a lot of exciting stuff planned for you guys for 2014. So let's talk Patcast. I go to Nashville a lot to work. It's a good place for me to be around people who make music, and plus the vibe is so cool. Nashville is a town full of songwriters, and there are hundreds, maybe thousands of people who move to Nashville in the hopes of making it in the music business. Some of them are just kids looking to make a name for themselves in the country music world. Some are songwriters looking to write with and for artists in all kinds of music. And one of them, only one, is Big Al Anderson. When I first met Al, he said, "You're a singing motherfucker." And I said, "You're Big Al Anderson, and you've been in Musician magazine as one of the greatest guitar players to have ever lived. Like, you're the playing motherfucker." So that's how our relationship began. And he's really he's like the sweetest guy you'll ever meet, who plays guitar better than anyone I've ever seen. Al has real presence. When he steps into a room, he's quiet but authoritative, and but in the loveliest way. And he is, as his nickname suggests, big. He's tall and imposing, probably 6'4", and he used to be super heavy, but not so much anymore. He likes to play a tiny little half-size guitar, which really exaggerates his bigness. Big Al is a songwriter in Nashville and an amazing musician in general. He just got off the boat right before we got on the boat. He's had an incredibly successful career. Being a songwriter at the age of 66 is his version of being retired. Having a full schedule of collaborating and making music wouldn't qualify as slowing down for most people, but when you hear about Al's touring work, it will all make sense. Al was the guitar player in a band called NRBQ. That band has had a rabid cult following for decades, and Al played on most of their records and toured with them from 1971 until well into the 90s. For much of that time, they spent more than 2/3 of the year touring. If you haven't heard of them, you need to check out some of their stuff on YouTube or anywhere else. It's all over. You can go to Spotify, but the live performances are especially interesting. They're all remarkable musicians, and they played every night of their career without a set list. You'll hear Al talk a little bit about that in the interview. And the psychic musical connection in his band developed by playing so many shows together. They were all informed by a lot of different kinds of music, and that made for a strange blend of styles in NRBQ. What they ended up with was an unmistakably very rare and NRBQ sound. It's their own sound. They never became a huge band in terms of monetary success, but their fans are fiercely loyal, and since many of their fans were musicians themselves, they ultimately ended up being a very influential band. After 30-plus years of being on the road, Al decided that he needed a change of pace, and so he moved to New Mexico with his family and rented a place in Nashville to work. And when you sit in a room with Al, with Big Al, he starts playing, and he's just incredible. He's a good singer, and he's a great guitar player. He doesn't play a lot of fancy solos or any of that kind of stuff, but he also plays the instrument differently than anyone else that I've ever heard. Writing with Al it was such an honor. We sat down at his house one morning, and he played me a couple of things. We started talking, and as you'll hear, he answered questions in his own unique way. And when I asked him, "What's next for you?" we got one of the greatest answers in the history of the Patcast. So here he is, this week's guest, and a great musician and a good friend of mine from NRBQ, Big Al Anderson, on the Patcast.
What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking. What do you do? What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking, looking at you. You got to get it while the getting is good. Laugh when you can, cry when you should. You got to give it till the giving is gone. Do what you can, then you move on. What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking. What do you do? What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking, looking at you.
You ready for me to start talking to Al, Pergo?
Ready, I'm rolling.
What song is that, Al? This is what you do to me every time we're together. You play a lot of great stuff, and then I want to keep writing, and then I never leave. I'm here with...
That's the plan.
I'm here with... you call yourself Big Al, but it's your name is Al Anderson, and you're from Connecticut. And I think a lot of people who are who listen to the podcast are going to know you from a band called NRBQ, which is... where did they start out of?
What did they what?
Where'd that band start?
It started in Florida from two guys from New York. And
Two guys from New York.
Two guys from Louisville, Kentucky. And one guy from Florida.
One guy from Florida. But you go back and you read about people, and I'd say 60% of it is like, no, I had never lived in Afghanistan. It's all lies, But some of it is true. Like, you were pretty young, and you had a band that had a record deal, and then NRBQ kind of recruited you, right? How'd that whole thing work?
We were playing there was these two guys that went to school at Kent Prep School, and we played up there. They liked us, and they knew NRBQ up in upstate New York. So they asked the Wowies to come out and play. Actually, it was an audition for me.
Oh, that's funny. They knew about you, though, right?
And the Wowies are kind of on their last legs anyway, so...
Your band was on the way to not being a band anymore?
I was a huge NRBQ freak.
Oh, you were?
Oh, yeah. Steve Ferguson's greatest guitar player ever.
Really? But yesterday you told me that the greatest guitar player was...
No, he's one of the greatest guitar players.
Oh.
George Benson, I was talking about.
George Benson,
in
yeah.
his salad days, even to this day, but I mean...
So who were the guys...
Salad days?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what do
the
you
salad days are when you're playing in clubs and...
Oh, right. Who are the influences that you had coming up?
Chet Atkins, Ray Charles, Chuck Berry.
But what about
mostly black people?
But what about guitar players like
Wes Montgomery.
Montgomery? You said yesterday how influenced all of our music is by the black culture of America.
Yeah, we
like
own everything.
all music from all over the world. Like how influenced we all are by just how amazing it all is, and it all has been
We're all
inspirational.
a imitation of great black people.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
That's the way it
isn't
is.
It really is. And do you think that's, there's also some things like when you hear Irish poetry or, it's like any culture that has been through hard times and difficult things as a whole, you probably get some pretty good work out of it all. If you see the pyramids, which I never have, incredible things come from just pain and like, the terrible things that we do to each other as humans. But then we have music to release it all. And man, you toured in a band you toured with those guys for like 22 years.
Yeah,
And
sometimes
then what
around
made you go
that Yankee Stadium album, we were doing 250 nights a year.
250 nights. I remember
In a different city
I remember playing at the Tremont in North Carolina.
I remember that place.
NRBQ was playing. You guys were playing in this room, and then we were playing that night. Like you had an early show at the Tremont Music. Do you remember what that place is
Chapel
called?
Hill?
No, it's in Charlotte. Anyway, but you may have been out of the band by then because you left in 93.
93 or 94, depending on what time it was. New Year's Eve.
Oh, really? You did a last New Year's Eve show. And so
The Tramps in New York.
What was being in that band like all those years? And because you're like one of the most ripping guitar players
Musically,
ever.
it's a dream come true. I learned so much about music.
Really?
Being in that band, it was like going to college.
Really? So you went in there and those guys just showed you what it was like
Just
to
riding
be...
on the bus and listening to it just opened up a whole world of music.
Right. So they recruit you because they need an amazing guitar player, but also a guy who can sing and write. Like you do everything.
Yeah, and at the time I signed with them, I couldn't sing because I was under contract to Vanguard still.
You really couldn't
So
sing.
they allowed me one song on the workshop record. I couldn't do any on scraps.
Why? Vanguard just wanted to hold you to it?
Yeah, I was under contract to them, and they, saw me slipping away, so they trying to stop me.
So they held on
They
tighter.
were taking care of their interests, so.
Right.
You weren't allowed to sing, but you were allowed to play guitar.
Right.
Oh, you could play guitar, but you couldn't sing.
Right.
Man. And how's that record label doing today?
Vanguard?
Yeah.
It's still there. I mean,
It is?
they reissued an album I did there, which
That's
has become
amazing.
rather popular, more popular now than it was then.
They're more popular now than ever. So they did the right thing by holding on to Big Al's voice.
Yeah, Nora Jones found it, and I went up and played with her up in New York
Oh, that's
with
funny.
the Little Willies at the living room. And a lot of people found that record. Still hear about it.
Yeah. The part that I have found about being in a touring band is that after a while, you're in such an unnatural environment with the same people in the same quarters for so long that everybody becomes a drumstick.
Exactly.
Like when you start looking at people like drumsticks, like I'm going to eat you, like not a drumstick, but a chicken drumstick.
But you start thinking with one mind. And
Right.
and we didn't have a set list, and we always knew what was coming. It was just eerie.
Did you like it?
You could just feel it.
You like that
Oh yeah,
feeling?
when you play 250 nights a year for a while,
Yeah,
you
get
become
real good.
something else.
What was the party like? When you started in the band, how old were you?
The first band,
No, when you started in NRBQ.
I think I was 21.
You were 21, so you
Maybe
probably
22.
started playing professionally when you were 16 or something, right?
Before that, I was playing in black clubs in Hartford when I was 15.
Wow, man. In Hartford, Connecticut.
Yeah. Even before that,
How long did it take you to get so good at guitar? I mean, you must have just shed in your room forever when you were a kid, right?
I'm not that good on guitar, but
You're pretty crazy good on guitar, man. It's anyway.
it just came by learning things. I've learned most of my guitar playing from Ray Charles,
See, he doesn't play guitar, but okay.
but his voicings and how
On
he
piano, really, you duplicate that on guitar.
yeah,
Man,
I
that's
idolized
incredible.
him. And the Everly Brothers had a huge effect on me.
The
when I was a
Everly
kid.
Brothers were amazing, right? They don't get enough credit for how
No.
great they
well,
were.
they do. The musicians know. People don't.
Yeah, people know. Or I mean,
But
musicians.
now that he
right?
passed away yesterday, then they're going to So kids will start listening a little bit.
I didn't know that, and that's terrible. When you get in NRBQ and you start touring the United States, do you go overseas as well?
Not till later on.
Not till later on.
We toured, we went to a trip. We made it to L.A. to play the Whiskey, and we played some places on the way down.
Right.
And I remember we stopped in Montgomery, Alabama, at the Piggly Wiggly, and we had a 1947 GM diesel bus with curtains. And we walked out of there, and long hair was not. You could die. So we walked in, and we got RC Cola and bread and peanut butter, and get back in the bus, and cops just swarmed around the bus, and the chief got on with a shotgun.
What?
And fortunately, at that time, Carl Perkins was on the Johnny Cash show at that time, and we had made a record with him just before my time, and we had the album cover and said we're on our way to go play with Carl out or whatever. We made up something.
Wow.
So they escorted us out of the state.
Why?
Like one city, long
Just
hair.
because you had long hair.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's incredible.
Down there, it was like unbelievable. Then Waylon and Willie came along like 2 years later. Now look at them.
Wow. Man, that's amazing.
If you don't have long hair.
Yeah, right. If you don't have long hair, you're arrested.
Right.
And so you have a guitar that you're holding that I want to take a picture with later. Do a lot of people, because that thing's so amazing, do a lot of people say, hey, aren't you Big Al? Can I get a picture with your guitar? Because that guitar, you said you wouldn't take $100,000 for it.
No, I wouldn't, but girls love it.
Did you get...
Girls try to get it away from me.
Did you buy that in San Francisco?
Pardon?
Did you buy that in San Francisco?
It's real guitars.
Man, that's such an amazing guitar.
$45. It didn't have a bridge on it, but I just loved the way it looked. And I just took a shot.
And how long have you had it?
I got it in 92, I think.
Man.
22 years.
Sometimes you just find the one, huh?
It has tons of flaws. It's got over-rings on it and stuff, but
what kind of
I can
guitar?
hold it close to me like this when I'm writing pretty.
Right. Have other guitar players asked you to buy that?
No.
Because they know better.
They tried to get me to give it to them.
Oh, yeah. That'd be me. What kind of guitar is it?
A Regal.
A Regal.
It's an Oahu, really. It's a student guitar, I think.
Man, it's really
It's made by the Regal company. Like Harmony.
When you record here in Nashville or wherever, you use that guitar, right?
Sometimes.
Man.
Not often. I used it on Bonnie's record.
On Bonnie's record?
Bonnie Raitt. This last record she did.
And you said you had a couple cuts on that song, right?
Yeah. 3.
Because now after all these years, you basically are a songwriter, but you still tour as Al Anderson, right?
I don't tour. I play up in Northampton 3 days a year.
Oh, okay.
3 or 4 days a year up at the Iron Horse.
And that's it.
And I do songwriter shows in casinos and up.
How do you like this life compared to being on the road all the time?
At my age, this is the place to be.
This is the place to be. And then, so when you started being on the road, the party was insanely good, right? And then
The party was insanely good until it wasn't.
Until it wasn't. That's exactly right, isn't it? And when wasn't it? When did it get to the point where you're like, man, this is doing more harm than good?
84 to 85, right in there. And
What
I
happened?
kept going until 91.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But in the mid '80s, it was not. It was getting.
Not good
It was
at all.
getting dark.
Yeah.
And
I was on automatic pilot on stage. I mean, I could play this solos and knew the words. If I had to think about the words, I would have been toast.
Right.
No set list.
There was no set list. You just
No set list.
Who would come up with? Who would say, "Okay, we're doing this song next"?
It's a what?
When you would play, who would call out the next song? Because you have 100 songs.
You could just feel it. You could just play a note, and you know the key, and you know the.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And then everybody would go.
Anybody can do it if you're 259 songs.
No, not everybody can do that. Man, you guys don't give yourself enough credit. There is such a diehard allegiance to NRBQ in this country about how great a band you guys are and how people are devoted to you guys like Kiss. And
Yeah, mostly musicians.
but
Some
still it's
omnidirectional people because they couldn't put a name on us.
Yeah.
And when they can't call you something, the journalists get mad, and the radio stations aren't going to pay attention to it.
Yeah. Why?
So
why
they
is
end
that?
up not liking you because they couldn't put a name on you.
Why is
sometimes.
that you guys would play classical songs or jazz tunes or rockabilly and
Just because all music was good. It was the kiss of death for the band as far as
yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's an interesting choice.
But somebody had to do it.
Well, it's an interesting choice to make consciously that you chose great over success. And because you were a successful band traveling all over and playing in front of thousands of people, but not tens of thousands of people.
Right.
You had to play 250 times to get to the same number of people that some people were playing in 10 nights because they went that one direction and, stood by that one thing that they knew how to do. But do you think that sometimes talent is more of a curse than a blessing? And I mean this seriously. Like when you see people that are as gifted as NRBQ as musicians, like you guys were all in a similar way as Led Zeppelin to me, because they were like prodigies, all four of those guys in their own way. And then they came together and they made a thing happen that was kind of amazing. And NRBQ, you guys are all kind of prodigy-like. I mean, when you watch YouTube videos or see the band live, you go like, this is insane. Like, these guys are so good that it's almost like you guys were it was comedy to you, how good you could do shit. Like, everything, you could do anything. And then you'd play, for a couple of hundred people that night. Is being that talented sometimes more of a problem than the good that can come of it?
It's almost like a jazz disease.
Right. That's what I mean, like a jazz disease. Like
Miles Davis, before he went the fusion route in '68, he could draw 150 people in New York City. Really? And be the greatest. Some of the greatest people in the world can't draw flies because it's over their heads or.
Mm-hmm. And you said George Benson before he started doing, the solos with his mouth, and
he went commercial and he made some money, but that boy still plays guitar. Let me tell you,
right. But before he went commercial, he was pulling a couple hundred people a night in New York too.
Jack McDuff Quartet.
And so, yeah, it really is like jazz guys, like jazz right now. I don't even know where you could watch jazz. Like, people don't even strive for it anymore as a kid, do they?
I know. It's just the magic period was over, like, I guess, in my 60s.
Are there some guitar players coming up that, I mean, who are you
I don't listen to music. I wouldn't know.
Who are you a fan of today? Anybody? Like guitar players or even songwriters or people that inspire you? When you hear things, you have to keep getting inspired, right?
I'd have to think on it for a while.
I don't really have a long time here, Al. I got like a couple of minutes. So, who do you hang out with here in Nashville? I want to know two things. One is because the other times you live in Santa Fe. And I can't imagine that that's a music mecca.
It's not.
I think it's a time for you to escape from all of this. But when you're in Nashville, A, who do you hang out with? And B, who do you hate? Because I want to know who to hate with you, Al. It's very important to me that we bond by collectively hating on the same people.
Well, I make a living here. And I'm not going to tell you who I hate.
Who do you hang out with?
The list is long, and no, never mind.
Who do you hang out with while you're here in Nashville? Because I know some of your buddies, but I don't know everybody.
I hang out with writers that I write with that day. I hang out. I don't go out much because I go to see the Time Jumpers on Monday night.
And the Time Jumpers are Vince Gill and his band.
They're all amazing musicians.
They're all amazing.
On Monday night. And then on Monday night, there's Mike Henderson at the Bluebird, which is a blues thing.
I thought Monday night was the Time Jumpers. Is that Tuesday?
That's it, Third and Lindsay.
But they're Bluebird, both Monday night.
Mike Henderson he's like scary.
He's just so good.
Yeah. And that's the live music I'd go out to see. I don't know much about other stuff. I know there's stuff at Robert's Western Wear and stuff, but I don't go out and listen to stuff anymore.
I've heard Robert's Western. That's a venue.
It's on Broadway. Robert's Western Wear is a venue as well, even though they sell boots and stuff.
Wow.
How many people will fit in that club?
100 maybe.
Wow, really?
Maybe more. I haven't been in there in a long time.
And they'll just tear it up in there, and there'll be 100 people to view it. What do you think of the evolution of music and how kids these days really aren't even learning instruments? They're just learning beats and things inside of computers to make.
I haven't been around that. I do this Durango songwriter series, and they all play guitar, and
they're young.
They really want to write songs. And a lot of people are doing that beats thing, and
yeah,
I don't want to start sounding like my parents, but
but you don't get it.
Yeah, I just don't care about it.
Right. What do you care about? Like, who are the songwriters that inspired you? Not just musicians, but what are some of the lyric writers? Because you write great words, you write great melodies. Who are some of those people that...
Burt Bacharach.
Really? Burt Bacharach, huh?
I'm a Frank Sinatra junkie. I think
really?
He's the greatest thing ever.
But see, Frank didn't write those songs.
But he did other Johnny Mercer and all the great writers.
Oh, see, Johnny Mercer is one of my influences.
Those are the great writers.
Right. Those were the great
Even
writers.
the Brill Building guys, like, Lieber Stoller and Carole King and Neil Diamond.
Carole King and Neil Diamond, man. They were serious.
And, Ellie Greenwich, and who's the... You just came to that songwriter thing. Jeff,
I don't know. There's a lot of Jeffs.
having a brain fart.
Jeff
Berry.
Who?
Jeff Berry.
Oh, I don't know him.
You lost that loving feeling. Oh,
wait a minute. I thought that was the Righteous Brothers.
No, Jeff Berry and Ellie Greenwich wrote that.
Oh, they did. That's one of the top 3 licensed songs of all time.
Yeah. Phil Spector. Stay away from your heroes, but he was something.
When I do private shows, I end with that and call up all the guys to sing it because of the movie Top Gun, and then I get a free song out of it because I don't have to do anything, and I get paid a bunch of money. It's pretty awesome. You might want to try it.
I was available that day.
Al, will you sing a song with me?
Come on.
That you wrote?
If you'll hand me that soda right over there.
Sure.
Brought to you by Hanson's Diet Ginger Ale.
So, I'm told this is the first song you wrote with NRBQ. And is this the first song that you were allowed to sing after you were out of your contract with Vanguard?
I was out by then, yeah. I was out. I got to see, 73 was Workshop, and 75 was All Hopped Up. I think it is the first one.
So this is a song called Riding in My Car.
Yeah.
Good morning from Automated Engineering. This is Take One, and good luck with your performance.
Remember last summer when we had the chance to find each other, start making romance. It didn't come off cause you found another without one hand of the clock. What good is the other? And I can't find no true love, oh baby, it's so hard. And I still think about you every time I'm riding in my car.
Well, I went to the place where everybody hangs out to see what everybody was talking about. And over in the corner all alone with you was the boy from last summer singing songs to you. But he can't sing like I can sing, oh it's so hard. And I still think about you every time I'm riding in my car.
When I'm home alone, I can think of other things to do.
But when I'm rolling in forward motion, I think about only you.
It's been a year and a day since I talked to you. I don't know how I made it, but I sure have been blue. Every time I think about what might have been, I jump in my car and start riding again.
And I can't find no true love, oh baby, it's so hard. And I still think about you every time I'm riding in my car. And I still think about you every time I'm riding in my car. Still think about you when I'm riding in my car.
Sorry, I messed up your song, Al, but I got to tell you, I didn't want to sing it because when you sing, it makes me feel good, and I wanted to just have that feeling.
Well, I actually like the way you sing it.
Can you play your solo because you couldn't do both? It's the greatest solo ever. It's so good, man.
Let me do it again.
You're right. You're not very good, but that solo, that was sarcasm. That solo is so, like, the Beatles, like, couldn't have written such a cool, simple, amazing thing, I think. Like, that solo...
They were still a pretty good band.
They were all right. But your style, what do you call your style?
I don't know.
Like, as a songwriter now, what are you?
I have no idea. I'm a songwriter, so I have to write. I do all kinds of different... That's the thing about NRBQ is I can still write a jazz song and a any kind of rock and roll song.
Who are some of your favorite people that you've been able to write with? I mean, you have a list that is pretty intense.
Vince Gill.
Vince Gill's a lovely man, right?
Yeah, greatest.
Yeah, he's the greatest. What did you say yesterday? Vince doesn't have a bad word to say about anybody except, and then you said one person's name, and I won't say who it is, and we all hate on that person. And I want to say congratulations because we're all good friends about that.
Okay. The secret remains.
But he really doesn't have anything. He's such a lovely guy.
Oh, man, he's the best.
Who else has been somebody that you just are like, man, I can't believe I had a chance to work with them? Like, I love John Hyatt, and you love John Hyatt as well, and you guys have written songs. But is there somebody that you never thought you'd have a chance to be in a room with, and then when you were, it was pretty magical?
There's just a lot of great writers in town.
And that's that.
Yeah. There's Leslie Satcher and Matresa Berg and Sarah Buxton.
When you write with Matresa, I've written with Matresa. She's real lovely. She's got an artist's heart.
Right.
Like she's writing from a pretty deep place.
Yeah. She's not going to write any crap.
Yeah, no, she's not. And she won't let you either.
And they got people on the fringe of this thing, Buddy Miller, and that aren't going to get on country radio because they're just, they care too much to fall into a zone. So there's a lot of Americana people out here, the Civil Wars. I thought they were great.
Huh. Are there some people left that you're hoping to write with?
Most of my dreams have come true. I had a George Jones cut and
that's cool.
Don Williams, and just over the years.
George Jones, man, that's what a great songwriter to write with. One of the all-time.
Didn't write with him. He just cut my song.
Oh, that's cool.
And I wrote with Phil Everly. Wrote 2 songs with him and John Hobbs.
Wow, that's amazing, man.
Little things like that happen. And I wrote with Billy Gibbons and
Billy Gibbons, man. I love ZZ Top. What a great band. I wanted to finish.
No, I'm having another brain fart. The guy that played with the Eagles, the guitar player.
Oh, Joe Walsh?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Right here.
How was he?
Right. Great.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
he cleaned up a long time ago, but he still talks the same. He's like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Told me he was at Kent State when those murders happened.
Really? He was there at Kent State? He was going to school there?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, not good amazing. That's So I always finish by asking a few.
Don't forget about Kevin.
Oh yeah. I gotta ask about. I
need to know about this. I'm
There's
sorry,
a
Al,
there's
I
a
need to know.
there's a couple of NRBQ questions. One is, what is the video hour? The NRBQ video hour. Do you know about this?
No.
Okay.
I know there's 2 videos.
That must have come after you decided that.
No, yeah, there's two on VHS. I have 2 of them on VHS. I've just never watched them. It's me doing two commercials too. I think for Rack's Restaurants
Nice.
that I acted in.
Okay. Here's the much more important question. You not only have a song about Lou Albano, but you asked Lou to be your manager. And Lou Albano, the wrestler, was your manager for how long?
He was a manager in show, just not really.
Oh, not really?
No.
Oh, how'd that come about? How
He
did you
just
guys
came.
befriend each other?
He just pretended to be our manager.
So this is like when the wrestlers come in with their manager next to the ring, but the manager
Oh,
just
right.
ends up hitting somebody with a chair. that
Yeah,
kind of match?
those were the magic days.
Yeah.
Those are the what?
Those were the magic days.
Those were the magic
Back when,
days.
when nobody was sure if it was fake or not,
Man,
even though everybody knew.
that's amazing.
He was a great guy.
Oh, that's cool.
Funny, he's got stories all over the place.
Those guys, based on the stories that they have some dark lives, like darker than
Yeah.
comedians.
Back then, they had no contracts, no health insurance. I mean,
They just had to go in there and like really get hurt.
yeah, you had to cut yourself if you wanted to get just like that wrestler, the movie The Wrestler. Mickey Rourke. That's pretty much what was there, and there was mostly high schools, and they'd have a big show on maybe Sunday on UHF. But it's right before Vince McMahon took it over from his dad.
Wow.
How did you guys meet Captain Lou?
Yeah, how did you meet Captain Lou?
I think through the Valiant brothers. I think we brought Jimmy Valiant to our shows,
They were
and he was the manager of the Valiant brothers,
Man, that's incredible.
I believe. The great thing about Lou, not being funny, is we all stayed at the Howard Johnson's. That's the other thing. We were staying in the same hotel as the wrestlers in New York City on 8th Avenue. So Lou says, Al, all I got to do is go in and tell them, just go WWF. It's $50. So from then on, I went to the Howard Johnson. I just walked up to the guy. They thought I'm so big, WWF. Here you are, sir. I had a $50 room in New York for all through the 80s.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then you asked him to be on your record.
He was on
Yeah.
your
Be
record
your
after
fake
that.
Manager.
Yeah.
Because if he could get you $50 rooms,
And then,
he knew something.
Cyndi Lauper came to the bottom line and stole the whole thing from us. She had more money to give him.
Wait, who did?
Cyndi Lauper.
Cyndi Lauper.
And that's where the wrestling album came from, and that's how I got a song on the first wrestling album.
What wrestling album?
There's a thing called the wrestling album. Hulk Hogan and all that stuff.
I don't know anything about the wrestling album.
And
I Am a Real American song?
no, this is before
Before that.
her record. We'd done it, and then when she took it, they did the wrestling album. It's just called the wrestling album. And they came to the bottom line and saw the whole thing. And
Oh, really? You got found out. Man, Cyndi Lauper stole
He was
my
a rough
dreams
guy.
too.
he was a rough guy. One day, I was living in Harwinton, Connecticut, and he met me there because we were going to drive to a show. And the family's just sitting around the table eating, and he walks in the back door and goes, "Big Al, I got to drop some mud, brother."
Brother. And then he did.
Yeah.
And then that was that. Man, how can I get...
And he would do the jumps and falls right on the stage,
Really?
land on his back. He knew how to. They all
He
know
just
how to
knew
fall.
how to do it. Is Lou still alive?
No.
When did he go?
Had dementia and he died. Just like a few years ago.
Aw. But you guys became friends, right? I mean, you guys were buddies.
Yeah, whenever we saw him, we hung out.
Where did he live?
Upstate New York.
Huh.
Not that far up from New York City, we're somewhere around 84.
Do you still try to get... you're so much smaller now. You don't try to get WWF $50 rooms
No, but
anymore?
I sang for him for a while.
Oh, yeah?
after that.
No, that's cool.
The same for
So
the
you were telling me
Rockabilly Kid.
You told me
Rockabilly Boy.
yesterday you were a cheeseburger guy, and you were like 400 pounds, and you ain't that.
Almost 391 in my high. And
Wow,
81.
man. And what made you turn the whole thing around?
I was just sick of it.
Yeah.
Then actually we signed with Bearsville, and they paid for me to go to Nutrisystem,
Oh, is that right?
where I lost 50 pounds on that.
Right.
But I was still drinking wine.
Yeah.
I could get mean on wine.
Oh, really? You get mean on wine. My dad said wine's not alcohol.
Then
so
I put it back on, and then I sobered up, and then I started. So I sobered up in '91, and I started walking 6-7 miles a day.
Oh, that's
I was
amazing.
running a mile.
What do you do now?
I walk. It's a preserve. You can go walk up the mountains and stuff.
That's cool. Well, I always finish by asking.
Radnor Lake. Sorry,
What is it called?
Radnor Lake.
Oh, right. You like living in here in Nashville, or you like Santa Fe, or you like the
I like to
combination?
live in Santa Fe.
You like to live in
I
Santa
like
Fe.
to work in Nashville.
Yeah, that's good. I like working in New York City, but I don't think I could live there. It's too intense for me, for too long.
Yeah, but it's pretty beautiful though. New York City.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah,
So-
it's too much. It's like, I'd be more happy in Brooklyn these days, probably.
Your boy Pergo here is from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
By way of New Jersey.
by way of New Jersey. Anyway, my wife always likes me to finish by asking these last 6 questions. May I?
Go right ahead.
What is your best tour find? Something that by touring around the United States you found that you wouldn't have found otherwise, like, a speakeasy, a burger joint, something.
Burger joint at the White Spot in Charlottesville, Virginia. I don't eat meat anymore. Though.
Right. How about a bar or something cool that
Cool bar. I played in an awful lot of cool bars. Man, a lot of them. I can't think of the names of them. I'm losing my memories going.
It's all right. How about this one? What are you currently a fan of? I asked you about football the other day. You don't really watch football, right?
Not too much.
What are you a fan of?
TCM, Turner Classic Movies,
Oh yeah,
American Hustle, the movie to see.
American Hustle.
The movie to see. Jennifer Lawrence is the new Meryl Streep.
Huh. I gotta see that.
Unbelievable. They're all great in it. Everybody.
So, question number 3: Why do you still do this after? I mean, how long have you been doing music for?
I love writing songs.
Yeah.
I don't love playing out as much. I
Like,
like
I
being
don't
being
understand
on
that.
stage, but I don't want to get in a van and
But you said you're too scared to get up on stage with the time jumpers. Like, you would fit right in, man. You're like you're a legend. And
but they're
those guys,
defined players who really know what they're doing, and I play in hope.
You play in
I
hope.
play in hope. I guarantee you, I do. I play in hope it all comes out right.
Man, well, it does, man. Every time I
I know
every
certain
time I
places
work
are going to
with
work on the neck, and then I just hope that it works.
you hope your finger hits the right one. Man,
That's
well,
why I'm one of the greatest guitar players in the world, because I have no idea what I'm doing.
when you were in Rolling Stone magazine's top 100 guitar players of
Musician magazine.
it was Musician magazine, and it was top 100 guitar players of what was it? This century?
Yeah, that last century. But that follows you forever, that stuff. Everybody knows that.
But
And they believe it.
when you saw
weird,
when you
'cause
saw
I'm not.
yourself in that, what did that make you think?
I thought all the people they forgot about.
Oh, really? You thought
Yeah,
of all
I mean,
the
there's-
people that they didn't put in there?
Oh, yeah. Robert Ward from the Falcons. There's a lot of guitar players in this world that are better than me.
Well, you're
I
a pretty
guarantee
humble
you.
guy.
But I'm pretty good. I have my own thing.
It's a pretty good thing. What's next for you, Al?
I got a hearing aid. I'm going to get a check. I have to go in for a checkup tomorrow.
Okay.
A lot of loud music. I was in front of a twin for a lot of years.
Yeah.
Fender twin. And then I'm going home to hang out for a while. Then I'm going on the Delbert McClinton cruise
Yeah, that's
in
cool.
the Caribbean. And after that, I'm going to the Bohemian Club out in San Francisco to do a headliner song for them. And then I'm going to come, what am I doing the first week in February? Maybe you're coming out to write.
Yeah. And so what did you replace alcohol and the party with? What do you do to have
Music,
your own?
Music mattered more.
Music mattered more. And so you just play music more, you work more.
Yeah, I make sure I feed my spirit here.
Yeah.
I don't just write for radio.
And that makes sense that you live in Santa Fe to do that too, because any kind of like dry, deserty climate is, I feel like it's very empowering to the soul. I mean, you got to feel some kind of spiritual connection while you're there because it's a magical place.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Visually, especially.
So the last thing I want to ask is, how can people find out more about you? Are you a guy that has an Instagram account?
No.
How about
Amazon.com. You can still got
what is it called?
Wikipedia. Amazon has almost all my stuff.
But do you have a website or a?
I have a website that's so old I haven't upgraded it since 2007. But I got to do that. I'm lazy with computers. I call people. I don't text.
Yeah, Vince Gill too. I've texted
But I'll
him.
accept the text and then I'll call him.
You'll accept the text. He I don't even know. Yeah, he won't text you or anything. He will call you though.
It's like CDs. You lose something
Yeah.
from vinyl. You lose something from not
Do you
communicating with people.
download music?
No, I only buy stuff on iTunes. I wouldn't know how to steal one.
We're gonna teach you how to steal music before we leave, so that you could be like everybody else.
Did you get that? Did you get that, officer?
All right, Al Anderson. Hey, thanks so much for spending the time with me. And
it's been great writing with you, man.
And Pergo, and hope that we get to do this
Had a ball with
bunch
you.
more.
You can stay.
All right, thanks, Al.
There you have it, folks. Big Al Anderson of NRBQ and an expert songwriter, as you'll probably hear some of that on the new Train album. I hope you enjoyed him as much as I do. I can't wait to get another writing session in with that guy. Maybe I'll go to New Mexico soon. It's going to be tough to keep up with what he's got going on. He doesn't do much tweeting or Instagramming, but if you want to know more about Big Al, just either go to bigalanderson.com or give me a call, and I'll tell you everything you need to know. You can always find us on Instagram and Twitter and iTunes and SoundCloud and Patcast.com. You can go to Patcast Podcast on all the Instagram stuff, as you already know. And we'll be back next week, so thanks so much for listening, and I don't know what else to say other than I love you so much. Bye.